Good morning everyone. Myself I am Chaitanya. I am posted as a Deputy Director at National Water Academy, Central Water Commission, Pune. The topic of today's presentation is Introduction to Google Earth Engine Code Editor. Now, given that you have already had introduction to basics of remote sensing and some introduction to Google Earth Engine platform and its capabilities yesterday, today we will go ahead with getting started with the Earth Engine Code Editor. This course is actually meant for beginners who never worked with Google Earth Engine before. So we are concentrating more on basics, and we are planning for a residential course program, residential training program for on Google Earth Engine applications in water resources sector later this year for those who are comfortable with using the platform. So today we will go ahead with familiarization with Google Earth Engine Code Editor. We'll see some basics of JavaScript programming language, which just sufficient enough to write and execute scripts on code editor. Then we will see Earth Engine objects and methods which are useful for running the scripts and on code editor. And tomorrow we will see raster data analysis using Google Earth Engine. Just to recapitulate about the Google Earth Engine, Google Earth Engine is a planetary scale cloud-based platform which is co-located with data. The public in the form of public data catalog, a petabyte scale catalog of public and free to use geospatial data sets, where every day hundreds and thousands of satellite imagery and other kinds of images, geospatial data, including vector data sets, they are getting added to the public data catalog. And Google Earth Engine, then the second component is computational power. Google Earth Engine leverages the Google's cloud platform for planetary scale analysis of Earth science data without having the need to download the data on your system and analyze it with using any GIS software or any programming language. The Google Earth Engine also comes with a fully featured JavaScript application programming interface, which has also a web-based integrated development environment, which is nothing but the code editor which we are going to work upon. And there are other application programming interfaces like Python API and REST API, which don't have an integrated development environment. The benefit of having the integrated development environment is you can it is user friendly. You can see you can write the code, you can customize it and your scripts, and then you can execute them. Then it is also possible, once you have good command over the Google Earth Engine, especially the Python API, you can create dynamic and publicly accessible user interfaces for Earth Engine analysis, and you can publish your applications for public view. So this is how the Earth Engine code editor looks like. It is basically, as I said, it is a web-based integrated development environment for the Earth Engine JavaScript API. By API, application programming interface, we mean a software intermediary which allows two applications to talk to each other. Now, just to give an example, if you are visiting any travel website, and if you want to make a reservations for flight tickets, you will search availability of the flights seats on a particular day between two cities. Now what happens is the application programming interface will carry this request from the travel website to the airline database servers, where it gets processed, and you will in response the application programming interface API carries the response of your query back to the travel website, and the response gets reflected on the website, and the user will be able to see the availability of flight tickets, and he or she will be able to make reservations. So similarly in the Earth Engine, Google Earth Engine, we have server and client concept, which you have already seen. We will be sending our request from the client to the server in the form of Earth Engine containers, and your request gets processed on the Google server, and the resultant map tiles or information gets back to the code editor and gets displayed on the map panel and in the console tab. So all you need to run the Earth code editor is a web browser, Google Earth Chrome for better results, and a good internet connection. So this code editor main window is in the center, the central panel, which is the actual code editor where you write, execute, edit your scripts. It comes along with the buttons for saving the script, running the script, and then getting linked to the script, which you can share with collaborators and your friends. Then there is a left panel, which is basically for input management. It has three tabs: scripts, docs, and assets tabs. We will see the functionality of each of these in a while. Then on the right hand side, right hand panel, there are three tabs. This right hand panel is for output management. The three tabs are for are inspector tab, console tab, and tasks tab. We will see these functionalities also. And then you have the main map canvas area with a layer manager and geometry tools, where the input as well as the analyzed results, geospatial results gets displayed in the form of map layers. Then in the header portion, you have a search bar for searching the data sets available in the public data catalog, and you can also search for places. And there are help buttons to access the user forums, the user guide, and feedback button for giving a feedback, and then reporting any bug issue, etc. So again, these are the basic components of the Earth Engine code editor. To repeat, central panel has the main window, has JavaScript code editor along with save, run, get link, reset, and setting buttons. Left panel for input management with scripts, docs, and assets tab. Right panel for output management has inspector tab, console tab, and tasks tab. Map panel for visualizing geospatial datasets. Then header with the search box, help, and feedback buttons. Now hopefully everyone have signed up for accessing the code editor. This is the URL which you should type, and then you sign up. Once you have signed up and you got approval, permission, then you can log in using your Gmail account, Google account. And I have already logged in, so we will continue exploring the code editor for getting familiarized with the code editor. So this is how the code editor looks like. The map canvas area by default points out to United States of America. It displays United States of America. Now to get to any point of your interest, you can search the place here in the search bar. Let us say I am searching for Pune, Maharashtra. The map canvas area displays the area region around Pune. You can toggle between map view, terrain view, and then satellite view on the map canvas area. And here in the map canvas area, you have tools for geometry tools for drawing features, just as in the GIS software, you create point layers, polygon layers, and line layers. You can create the geometry tools, and you can import them into your script and make use of them. We will see it later. Then, as I said, in the left panel you have the scripts, then docs and assets tabs. In the scripts tab, uh, when you write any script, you save it, then it gets saved in the under the owner head in a folder. um, and if someone shares their repository of codes scripts with you, depending upon they have given the writer permission or reader permission, you will be able to access those repositories in under the folders of writer and reader. Then there are example folders, example head. You have many examples which are provided by Google. You can go through them. They are they are they are listed with each Earth Engine object class. Like there are many examples under image object class, um, image collection, feature collection, object class, etc. You can go through them once we get the basic knowledge about Google Earth Engine and its functionalities. Then you have the docs tab, where there is complete API documentation, application programming interface documentation. The all Earth Engine object classes are listed here with their associated methods or functions which you can use in your script. By clicking on any, you can search for the methods here by typing, and you can like if you want to add a layer on the map, you have this method map.addLayer, and if you click on it, it will use the complete documentation. What are the parameters that are required to pass in, which of those parameters are compulsory, like the EE object, the Earth Engine object class, image object class, the raster image is compulsory, and then others like visualization parameters, name to be given for the layer, opacity, etc. These are optional parameters which are italicized. Then these are the various, as I said, these are the various arguments to be passed, and it will return a UI user interface map layer. So you can search for various methods here, and you can use them in your script. Then assets tab, where the in the asset manager you can upload your own private data, the raster images or shape files, which you can use for your analysis purpose. We can call them into the script, your script, using their ID, and you can use them. Then in the right panel for output management, you have the inspector tab, which basically is similar to the get info tool of any GIS software. So if you click on any point on the map canvas, you will get the coordinates of that particular point, like longitude of that point and latitude of that point. You can copy them and you can make use of them in your script for creating a point at any particular location. You can use those coordinates, and whenever the other map layers are displayed, you will also get information about those the pixel, the value of the digital number or the value of that layer at that particular location. Now, because there is no layer is displayed, we are only seeing the coordinates only. So we will also explore it later. Then console tab, where you will print any data onto the console part. Then there is tasks tab, which is used for long running tasks. The purpose of these we will see afterwards. Basically, console tab is when you print something from your script, then the results will be displayed in the console. and the console is interactive, so you can expand the printed objects here and you get more details about them. Then you have the task tab is for a long running task. If you are exporting any object, if after running the script, after you want to export your results are in the form of table or image, you can take it to the task manager. You can click run on the task manager. It will keep running on the back in the background while you can continue with other scripts. We will see all of these functionalities. Don't worry if you don't understand anything, because we will be using these while using the during the hands-on sessions, and you will have a better idea of everything. So this is basically about the familiarization of Earth Engine code editor part, and we will come to these as these functionalities again tomorrow while doing the hands-on. Now going back to our presentation, how Earth Engine works. You have already had some introduction, some understanding of client server process yesterday, where the client actually the system which you are working is the client. We have seen it that there is no need for us to write the program, other than writing the scripts. There is no need for downloading the data and processing it. All the requests are sent to the server using Earth Engine objects and methods, and then the process takes place on server and the response is again displayed on the client. Those scripts written on the code editor are sent to the Google servers for processing, and generated map tiles and our messages are sent back for display in the map panel and our console tab, which we have seen in the code editor. Now the programming language part, the JavaScript for Earth Engine. The scripts of Earth Engine code editor are made up of JavaScript statements. Now JavaScript is a programming language, is an object-oriented programming language. You need not have good knowledge of JavaScript for using Google Earth Engine. You just need to know the basics of JavaScript, the various data types, and the good practices and functions, JavaScript functions, etc. Like for any programming language, if you know the basics, you can start working. So we will only cover what is sufficient or what is enough for writing the scripts. So Earth Engine code editor scripts are made up of JavaScript statements in all statements. JavaScript statements end in a semicolon, so you have to take care of that aspect. Otherwise the code editor will point out it will warn you that there is no semicolon at the end of the statement. Now you need to have a basic knowledge of JavaScript data types, example namely string, number, list, dictionary, object. We will see these in a while. We will see while working on the code editor itself. We will examine all these various data types, JavaScript data types. Now since we use the application programming interface with JavaScript, all functionalities of this language can be used. However, in addition, you need to have new variables and new functions or methods which are needed to connect the client to the server. Now for connecting the client to the server, you need to use proxy objects in your script, the client side proxy objects. These are generally initialized with the EE, Earth Engine, short form for Earth Engine, which are needed in your script for sending information to the server. Now if you want to process anything on the server, you have to use containers, Earth Engine containers, for sending any data from the client to the server. if you don't intend to send it to the server, and if you want to just have a basic script writing, you can do. But geospatial analysis essentially involves making use of uh, Google servers. The Google Earth Engine is designed in such a way, is designed in that way. So we have to have the knowledge of Earth Engine objects and methods. We will come to that just in a while. So all JavaScript objects and primitives. JavaScript actually has provides two types of data types. One is primitive values, which are numbers, strings, booleans, etc., and then non-primitive values, which are object which are example functions, arrays. So let us actually myself, I am not much conversant with programming part, the JavaScript, but to give the brief introduction, what is required for you in JavaScript, in everything is almost is an object. All JavaScript values except primitives are objects. So you have in JavaScript, everything is either an object or primitive, which primitives means the strings, booleans, numbers, etc. And and there we need to put while declaring, for example, in JavaScript you can declare a number data type with this declaration, where a is equal to 3, that you are assigning number 3 to the variable a. This is the placeholder by using the keyword var, variable, a keyword for variable. In JavaScript it is enough to declare this way, but you can use it for the code editor purpose. But if you are but if you are sending this information to Google server, then it is you have to put it in a Earth Engine container, where there is this Earth Engine container which starts with EE dot number. This is the way you declare a number. Now the this a the data, if you that the data type of a, the type of a here is a number, whereas here it is not a number, but it is an Earth Engine number object. It is an object. So similarly, while declaring the string in a JavaScript, it is enough to use you can use a placeholder name, and you can declare by using the keyword var, and you can declare a string, and you can make use in your script. But if you are sending it to the Google server, you have to put a ee.string container for sending it to the string. Then it becomes then it no longer remains a string object. It becomes a Earth Engine. It no longer remains a string data type. It becomes an Earth Engine string object. uh, so the client, that is your system, doesn't know while making use of these statements in the code editor. The client actually doesn't know what's in the container, what's inside the container of ee.number, the container a. The client, that is your system, doesn't know. But however, you can print it by using the print method, which recognizes the Earth Engine objects. Um, Now it may be a bit confusing, but we will go to the code editor. We will see some basics of JavaScript, and we will come to this aspect of the containers, the Earth Engine containers, and why it becomes important not to mix up the JavaScript data types, JavaScript objects, and the Earth Engine objects. Why and we will see why it is important, because it will result in some error. It may yield to some errors, and you have to be a bit careful. Okay, then let's go to this repository. Please copy this URL. You can directly you can copy this URL while your after signing into code dot earthengine.google.com, you copy this URL and just press enter. Then automatically actually by this I am sharing a link to the repository, and it will show in the reader, in the script manager. You will see the repository of NWA underscore February underscore 2021 in the reader head, in a new folder. So I'm directly going to the code .earthengine.google.com again, and here actually it will here in my case it will show in the owner folder, the same repository, whereas in your case you will see it in the reader folder. You have to run that URL. Once again, I can paste the URL if you need. uh, you have to just paste it and run it, so then it will get reflected in your reader folder. Once you are able to see it, you click the first script, 00 basic JavaScript. You will start working with the basic JavaScript, then you will have better understanding. Then we will also see today we will also see basic Earth Engine objects and methods, so that from tomorrow onwards we will go with data image analysis. That is what we call raster data in GIS. It is the same as image object in Earth Engine. So we will see. So the first script, any normally any programming language, the first script which we write is uh, hello world script. Now, and before going to that, there is one thing which is very important. You can see these two forward slashes, which is meant for commenting out any line. Now it is a good practice to put lot of comments in your script to describe what you are doing, so that it becomes readable once you come back, because this repository and this video will remain with you forever. You can come back and review, and you can read it, the script. Then you should be able to understand it. And there is one more use of commenting out is, you if you want, for example, I have put so many scripts together in a single script. So it is not possible to compartmentalize the scripts here like in Python Jupyter Notebook. So I can comment out all the rest of the things, so it will not be executed, and I can come sequentially after one script to another to work on it. So there is a shortcut for commenting. One thing is, you can just add two forward slashes in the on any line, or there is another way of commenting is one forward slash and asterisk, and whatever and again asterisk and one forward slash, whatever lies in between, you can use it for commenting purpose. You can write anything in between these two. So, and another, the shortcut for commenting out any portion of the script is just select it and press Control plus forward slash. Then everything will be commented out, so that we can only execute the portion of the script which is needed. So now we can start with our first script, that is printing hello world onto the console. So this print is again a function or method. You can print any string, or print any variable after declaration. using the print statement. And again, the print statement, this is a JavaScript statement, it ends with a semicolon. If you don't put semicolon, the code editor will warn you that the semicolon is missing. The script will, however, will run. It will not show any error. However, it will show this warning. So it is always better to put a semicolon after every statement in the JavaScript. So let us run it. So it gets printed, hello world gets printed in the console. Now we can comment out this portion by the short key control plus /, and let us run this part of the script, which introduces to the, again, to uncomment you have to select that portion and press control /. Now this is again a the comment. This introduces to the basic JavaScript data type of string. For declaration of the string, you have to use either single quote or double quote, and we should, however, and we should not mix them. So here we are declaring a variable with the keyword where, and we are naming the placeholder as greet string, the name of the variable as greet string, and we are passing on this string with single quotes into this variable, and we are trying to print the same. This is a print is actually a function, is a simple function. Actually print, though it is a JavaScript function, it can also recognize the Earth Engine objects. Unlike many other functionalities of JavaScript, which we will see. For now we will concentrate on basics. Print greet string. Now if I execute, if I run this, so the hi gets printed here. So this is how you declare strings. Then quickly going further, how to declare the basic JavaScript numbers. Now basic JavaScript data type numbers, they store how to store a number in a variable. We are declaring a variable number and assigning value 3 to it, and we are again printing it. Now in the print statement we have 2 arguments. Now arguments are separated by a comma. Here in the first argument we are printing a string, that is value of the number is, and then the number, we are printing the variable which we have already assigned, which we have already declared. So whenever print statement is given 2 arguments separated by comma, each argument is printed on a different line. So let us execute it. So it is printing the first string as it is, the value of first argument as it is. Now what is the difference between parameter and argument? Parameter, whenever the value which is whenever you are passing a parameter in a function, it becomes an argument. So the value, this is the first parameter and this is the second first argument, and this is the second argument. So these 2 arguments are printed on different lines. The value of the number is 3. The value of the variable is getting printed. Okay, then going further, the JavaScript data type of lists. In JavaScript we use square brackets to declare lists. Now in this line we are declaring a list of numbers, variable list of numbers we are declaring with a square bracket, and comma separated values. The numbers we are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can also declare a list of the elements of the list can be anything. It can be numbers, it can be strings, it can be a combination of numbers and strings, anything. It can be there can also be a list within a list. An element of a list can be a list, so on. So, and then we are printing both the lists. Again, we are passing two arguments. They will be printed on two separate lines. And how to access list items? We can access list items using the index value. Now in any list, the index starts with 0. For example, the first element in index number is 0, the second element index number is 1, so on. So here we are we are printing the value of index 0 of list of strings. The list of strings, at index 0 we have the value a, string a. So that to print a, we have to use this uh, um, no, we can print a with the square bracket and then index value, the name of the string, and then square bracket and index value. You can print a. So let us run this. So the first print statement is printing the list of numbers, and the second print statements is uh, printing the list of strings in two lines, and then the third print statement is printing the first argument as it is. The value at index 0 of list of strings is nothing but a, so it is getting printed here. So the way to access any element of any list is making use of index number and the square brackets. And we will again comment out this portion. Then once you have this repository with you, you just follow the video for now. Once, because you will be having access to repository and the video, you can afterwards you can run in the evening, you can run the script again on your own on the code editor. For now you can keep watching the video. Then the next basic data type is dictionaries. I am uncommenting. So for declaring dictionaries, we use curly brackets, and dictionaries are in dictionaries you have generally the key value pairs are declared. For example, you are declaring a dictionary of car object, where um, you are passing on the information of the car, the name of the car, color of the car, engine size of the car, dimensions of the car, and the value. These are known as keys. So the the values can be anything. It can be a string, it can be a number, it can be a list. So this way you are declaring a dictionary car object in the JavaScript. Then this print statement is printing the dictionary, wants to print the dictionary, and it will print the whole dictionary car object. Now to access items of any dictionary, you have to pass on the string pass on the key to the dictionary using the square brackets. And there are two ways to access any value from a dictionary. One is passing the key to the square using a square bracket. That is, like, let us say you want to print the color, so we have to write a print statement, print color colon within single quotations, then comma, the second argument. You are passing the value the value associated with the key color in the dictionary. Car object is the name of the dictionary and color is the name of the key. You are passing the name of the key in the square brackets within the single quotes. So it will print the value associated with the this key. In the same way, you can access this value in another way, that is by dot notation, where you have to write the name of the dictionary dot the key, and you will get the value of the associated with the key in the dictionary. Let us run this. So here we are printing, in the first print statement you are printing the dictionary, which is an object, JavaScript object. Dictionary and object are have the same meaning in the JavaScript. So don't confuse between yourself between the JavaScript object and the Earth Engine object. In Earth Engine, everything like raster data is also known as an image object. The vector data is known as a feature object. Then even the number is the number object. However, in JavaScript, object means this key pair, the dictionaries where you have key and value pairs. So you have printed the dictionary, then you want to in the second print statement we are printing the color, print color, one argument, and the second argument is printing the value of the dictionary, the key value associated with the key color in the dictionary, blue. In the second, you are also in another notation to call the value car object dot dimensions. Dimensions is the key. The value associated with the key dimensions is a list. It may be 4.5 meter in length, 2 meters in width, and 1.5 meter in height. That may be the notation. So it is printing the dimensions. So once you have a big database, no, let us not get into those things. Actually, we are not here for learning programming. So you just need to know the data types. So this is how you declare, you create dictionaries, and you call the values and keys. Now let us comment out and move further. That is user defined functions, which are very important in Google Earth Engine. Now this is the general format of the user defined function. There are many ways to define a function. We will see this user defined functions in our geospatial analysis tomorrow, when we use a function to add a band to every image in a collection. We will use a function. So we will see that. So a general way to declare functions generally improve the code readability and reusability by grouping a set of operations. And the general way to declare a function is you give your name by giving a variable name, my function, and using the keyword function, and then within the parenthesis, these are the parameters which needs to be passed on for calling the function. There can be any number of parameters. There can be even zero number of parameters. For example, we will see for calculating the mean or calculating the median of a image collection, you need not pass any parameter. You can just give the name input data image object, and it will calculate the statistics of that image. Then these are JavaScript statements within the function. This is how you define the function. It could be anything. It can be conditional statements, it can be anything else, and it will return the statement. This is how we declare, we create functions, and you make use of them. So let us move forward. Now going back to our presentation, we will continue with the Earth Engine objects and methods. Once you are comfortable with JavaScript data types, you can learn to put JavaScript objects and primitives into Earth Engine containers for sending to the server and processing at Google. Now, Earth Engine objects and methods. Earth Engine API is composed of objects and methods and functions. Objects, you need to distinguish between the JavaScript objects and Earth Engine objects. JavaScript objects are nothing but dictionaries with key and value pairs, whereas Earth Engine objects, everything they represent data types like raster images, vector features, numbers, strings, almost everything. In each of the object belongs to a specific object class. For example, image object class, image collection object class. The common Earth Engine object classes are image object class, image collection, geometry, feature collection, reducer, join, array, chart, and uh, any specific instance of a class. For example, a specific instance of an image or image collection, they are image objects and image collection objects. A specific instance of a feature object class, Earth Engine feature object class is a feature object. So you need to know this difference between the Earth Engine object and the JavaScript object. Uh, and each class, each object class, Earth Engine object class, has a strict list of methods or functions which are available, which you can apply, which you can make use in the code editor script. You can apply them for doing the analysis. um, the image object, Earth Engine image object, they represent the fundamental raster data type in Earth Engine. Image collection, when you want to do a temporal analysis of images, satellite imageries over the time, to detect a change in the land use land cover or to map NDVI for a particular region of interest over the time. You need to use this image collection, um, which is nothing but a stack of images. Then the geometry object, Earth Engine object, is a fundamental vector data type in the Earth Engine. Feature is a geometry with attributes, and feature collection, similar to image collection, it is a set of features. Then reducer, it is an Earth Engine object which is used to compute statistics or perform aggregations. We will see these examples tomorrow when we do the Earth Engine. We will do the raster data analysis using Google Earth Engine. Now we will see some example scripts to have much better understanding of Earth Engine objects and methods. In the repository shared with you, you click the basic Earth Engine objects and methods, uh, the second script. You can refer the documentation for more on Earth Engine objects and methods. Actually, there is no, it is not essential to know everything about Earth Engine objects and methods for doing the image analysis for our purpose. But however, sometimes it is better to have to know the difference and how the Earth Engine works behind the this coded this integrated development environment, how it is working. It is to know, it is better to know. And also sometimes by mixing up with JavaScript objects and Earth Engine objects, it will result in some errors which you cannot identify otherwise. So you can go through the script. You can you can run it one after another afterwards. I will quickly go through some of the important script portions. I will first of all I will comment all the portions which I don't want to run. I will start with definition of a string, where in the and how to put it in an Earth Engine container. Now as we have already seen in the JavaScript, a string can be defined simply by declaring a variable, giving a name to the variable, and assigning it a string in single quotes or double quotes. So this a string, the type of a string is simple JavaScript data type string. And if you type the type of string, it will print the JavaScript, the data type string. Now once you make use of ee.string constructor and you pass it this a string into it, it becomes a Earth Engine string object. Then you can send it to the um, uh, server for processing. uh, so the type of EE string here is the object. It is actually the Earth Engine string object. So if you execute it, the first print statement is giving the type of the A string, which is string, and the second print statement is printing that EE string, which the value of EE string is this is a string. The value, though the value stored is same in A string and double E string, the type is different. The type of the double E string is printed as an object. It is nothing but an string object, Earth Engine string object. So you you can also define container and uh, all the contents at once instead of following this two-step method. Here we are declaring the here we are defining the container and its contents at once, defining the string that exists on the server. We are giving declaring a variable server string with using a ee.string container, and the type of it will be EE Earth Engine string object. Similarly, Earth Engine number, we use number uh, to create number objects on the server. Now, any constructor starting with EE returns an Earth Engine object, whether it is Earth Engine image object or Earth Engine number object or Earth Engine string object. Here we are declaring a variable. You are assigning the number 3 to the server number 1 using a Earth Engine constructor ee.number. So the type of server number will be Earth Engine number object. Uh, and here we are making use of math.e JavaScript method, which is math.e in JavaScript is nothing but Euler number, which is a constant, and we are using that to declare to create a constant value on the server using ee.number constructor. And in the JavaScripts, now once we have created a Earth Engine object, you have to use Earth Engine methods to process it. You cannot use the JavaScript object, JavaScript method. For example, the math.log and parenthesis, it is a method in JavaScript. It cannot be used here because on this server number, uh, which is a Euler number, but it is actually not a it is actually an Earth Engine number object. So you have to operate an Earth Engine method upon this server number, which is dot log. So we are declaring a variable log e is equal to server number dot log. Now dot log, it is a Earth Engine method. You can search for any Earth Engine method here uh, to know about its um, how it is used. It computes the natural logarithm of the input. So the input here is server number 2, which is an Euler number. So so log of Euler number is nothing but 1, but this 1 is not the of data type number, but it is again because it is an a written value of an Artingen uh, method. It returns an Artingen object, so it will the value which is returned is 1, but the type of it is Artingen number object. So you can run this part of the script. So the value of the type of log e is object, which is Artingen number object. So you can go through in detail at leisure these scripts. Um, Now how this is about list. Now I will comment out this portion. This is about construction of Artingen list object using a function Artingen. There is a function called sequence under Artingen list object class. You can very well search for it, and you will find under Artingen list object class you have a method ee.list.sequence start and step count. These are and step count are optional parameters. Sorry, step and count are optional parameters. So you are using it to generate the same uh, ee.list. Here we are passing directly the list using a ee.list constructor. Here you are using the function, sorry, method dot sequence. So you can again you to get extract value out of an Artingen list object, you have to use the get method. The get method we will use again the index value to get the value at a particular index from ee.list object. However, the value which you get is not an actual number data type. Again, it is a Artingen number object. Now Artingen actually doesn't know the type of the object that gets returned from a method. For example, here the get method, we are returning the value from a list by extracting a value out of the ee.list, the Artingen list object. But what is the type of value? It is an object. Definitely, it is not. It is an. It has to be an object. But because a list can contain anything, it can contain a number, it can contain a string or anything. So the Artingen doesn't actually know the type of the object that gets returned from the this method. So once you want to add a number to this value, it gives an error. Now once the if you execute, we haven't executed this part of the script, list part. The value at index, we are printing a statement. The value at index 2 in this in this list list 2 is 3. Okay, but what is the type of it? It is Artingen itself doesn't know, because because an object that gets returned from a because and for that reason, if you are adding for that reason, even if you are adding making use of Artingen method to add 3 to this value, it gives a error. It says value dot add is not a function. It is giving an error because basically because it doesn't know what is the type of value. So it gives an so how to avoid it? To avoid it, you have to make it clear that this value is an earth engine number object. So here we are making it clear that value is an by using a constructor ee.number constructor. uh, you, we are making it clear to earth engine that it is an value. The value is an earth engine number object, and then we are using an earth engine method add. Earth engine method add adds the first value to the second. It is a method available under earth engine number class. Then it gives the result. We can comment this out, which and run now. Then it adds the value 3. The value has a 3 stored in it, and you are adding 3. It will give a result of 6. For more clarity, you can see this part of the script. Now, why mixing up JavaScript and Earth Engine methods gives erroneous results? We will have a better, it may give an erroneous result. That is why you need to know the difference. Now, uh, in case if you are declaring a variable a and b and assigning 5 and 4, these are of data type JavaScript data type number. But if you are assigning using constructor e.number constructor, then these a and b are earth engine number objects. Now, if you want to add a and b by assigning it to a variable c, it will not execute, because the this method of addition with plus sign is an valid JavaScript method or valid JavaScript function. Addition, it is simple addition. However, it is not if you run this, it is just concatenating, treating them as strings, and it is just adding up e.number 5. If, the variable c, we are printing c, it is just adding a and b through concatenation, string concatenation. It is not adding up the values, so it is giving a wrong result. uh, uh, so once you have declared that a and b are earth engine number objects, we have to use the method which is available. We have to use an earth engine object method, earth engine method only. So which is add, which is available, adds first value to the second. This is the syntax. We will comment out the portion which is giving us the error, and we will use the earth engine object to operate upon two earth engine method to operate upon two earth engine objects. So variable c is a dot add b. It will give the correct result now, and we are printing c, which is 9. 5 plus 4 is 9. Again, c is an not an usual JavaScript data type number, but an earth engine number object. So I think that is enough. Hopefully you got it by now. You can go through the remaining scripts at leisure, and one more important aspect which we have to see is I am skipping this dictionary part. The same using earth engine dot dictionary constructor, we will construct a dictionary, and it is again a Earth Engine object. It is a Earth Engine dictionary object, and we will get the values from the dictionary using get method. Get is a Earth Engine method which is available with Earth, Earth Engine dictionary object class. So please go through it afterwards. Then finally, about date objects, which is important. Uh, Now, date objects are the way the Earth Engine represents the time. It is important to distinguish between a JavaScript date object and Earth Engine EE.date object. Now, in how to define a date in Earth Engine, we can just simply use a string in this fashion. Variable date is EE.date 2021, then month for year followed by month followed by date. And if you run this script, it will print the date. We are passing two arguments. One is simply the date string, and then the actual value stored in the variable, which is an Earth Engine date object. It will print along with timestamp. Okay. In the case of JavaScript, one can get the current time using date.now method, which is available in JavaScript. It actually gives the milliseconds that have passed since January 1st, 1970. Let us run this. This is a simple JavaScript method. We are running on the client. We are not sending anything to the server. So it will run here. So the milliseconds that have passed since January 1, 1970 is this much. And if you run it again, you will see some change. This much, so many milliseconds have expanded since since running the script a few seconds ago. So you will find this date, current time date with associated with the metadata in the metadata of many satellite imageries. And you should know what it is. It is not much important, but you should know that it is in milliseconds. Then there is how to initialize an Earth Engine date object to know the current time. This is the way to declare the date object, and how to know the current date object, current date in Earth Engine date. How to initiate an Earth Engine date object? It is by using this method ee.dateNow. Within parenthesis, the argument is now. It actually points to Greenwich Mean Time. So now getting back to our presentation. The list of Earth Engine object classes and their methods can be found under the Docs tab in the code editor. We have already discussed it. Then while using the Earth Engine methods, the arguments to Earth Engine methods can be passed in the order of the parameters as defined within the parenthesis, or in any order by name, by passing a JavaScript object with parameters as keys and arguments as values. It helps in better readability and reusability of such methods. Tomorrow we will see what it actually means. We will implement it. Basically, it means that whenever you want to use the Earth Engine method, like for example, this is a method map.add layer, and these are the various within the parentheses, these are the parameters which you must pass on for calling the function. And these parameters, some are optional, some are compulsory, and compulsory parameters should be passed on in the same order. All parameters should be passed in the same order. How there is an alternative where you can pass these parameters in any order, uh, use making by making use of JavaScript object as an input, where object as in dictionary, where the keys will be the names of the parameters, whereas the values will be the arguments which you are passing. Uh, Tomorrow we will see it. It helps in better use of Earth Engine methods. Because you can read the code easily, and you can reuse it many times. And Earth Engine uses a parallel processing system to carry out computation across large number of machines, which we have seen how the data how the Earth Engine conditionals are used for manipulating the contents on the server. Now, use of for loops and if else conditionals, which are generally used in procedural programming, is discouraged in Earth Engine in favor of functional approach, making use of filters and making use of Earth Engine methods such as map operation. Tomorrow, while doing the raster analysis, we will see how to apply filters, how to use the map operation to apply a method to all elements of an image collection. Um, it helps in because you have the computational power of the Google servers, you can avoid going in the procedural way, and you can adopt a functional approach. Uh, uh, so you can go through this link, which differentiates between various programming paradigms, mainly the procedural programming, then object oriented programming, and functional programming, just for your knowledge. So that concludes today's session. Don't worry much about the understanding everything, because these terminologies, the objects, methods, and these may be very confusing for a first timer. What is more important is you must have a better idea of the various components of the code editor, which is the integrated development environment for the JavaScript API, which we will be working upon. You must know the functionalities of various components, and you must know the basic data types of JavaScript, and you must know the differences between JavaScript objects and Earth Engine objects, and also how Earth Engine works behind the integrated development environment through the use of the Earth Engine constructors. Um, that is important. Tomorrow we will start with raster data analysis using Google Earth Engine. Thank you.